Starting. Hello, everyone, and welcome to our podcast. Of our name will be uh, let's see. Well, okay, our
It's the
Bro,
okay.
Otaku
I
arc.
don't
I
know.
forgot. It was
It's a work in progress. It's a work in
Ota-
the,
progress.
the
Yeah,
otaku arc.
no,
Otaku arc.
the Otaku arc. It's the
Okay.
Otaku
yeah,
arc.
Oh, I was like, wait, what's our name again?
yeah.
It's okay, bro.
All right, here, 3, 2, 1, starting. Hello, everyone, and welcome to our new podcast of the Otaku Arc. And then today we have us three: Joel, Isaac, and John.
Oh, what's
So
up?
I'll introduce myself first. My name is Isaac. I am one of the otakus from the Otaku Arc, and it'll be a pleasure to meet all of y'all.
My name is Joel, and I'm one of the other takus. And yeah,
And John.
Ah, what's up, babies?
oh,
You know, it's your daddy here, John. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, I like Cowboy Bebop.
yeah, I didn't ask.
You're right. You're right. My bad. You know what? I'll just leave.
All right, and then to start us off, we'll kind of talk about what kind of like we want from this podcast. So, John, what do you want from this podcast?
What I want to get, I want to get some anime girls. I mean, not anime girls. I want to get a girlfriend. That's what I want.
All right, so John wants a girlfriend from this podcast. Hopefully, it'll work.
No,
I
no,
mean,
on the real note though.
oh,
On the real note though, I just wanted to like show out like how my taste and our taste
our superior. Yeah.
pretty good, and just for fun too. Just for fun of it, actually.
That's fair. Joel,
I mean, it's just for like memory's sake and like, I guess just like people tuning in, just just spend some downtime, just like listening to us talk about anime, and just all the stuff that's going on in our lives. So yeah.
that's very true. I doubt, but hopefully there will be some listeners.
Hugh Morton, bro, if you're there,
Yeah,
you're the goat. Thanks
hopefully
for
there.
supporting us,
Let's
bro.
go. Let's go.
I mean, if you're ever listening to the podcast, we gratefully appreciate your support for our Instagram. And our Instagram is No Life Otakus. So if you're here listening to the podcast but not following, please follow us. We have some good memes.
Link in
Uh,
bio. Link in bio.
Bye.
all right, and then for me, I think I'm just a part of this podcast, for memory's sake as well. Like 2 years, 3 years down the line, once we're all grown up more, we'll see how superior our taste really was to the whole
See.
world. All right, so John, if there's any sort of thing you want to talk about for this podcast.
So I know this is like interesting topic, but like,
Mm.
why do you guys start watching like anime?
I mean, honestly,
You know
though,
what I mean?
like I've always watched anime, like even when I was a little kid, especially with, like, cause my dad showed me Evangelion and Cowboy. But I think like recently it's been more, like, obviously cause like of COVID and all the stuff that's happening that's happening in this world. I think it's just like it was just like bound to happen, just like me in anime, cause I haven't watched since like I think around seventh grade, cause like I got bullied as a kid, but now I've like
Tough.
now I've been watching it a
It's
lot, so
tough.
I know, bro. Like, if you knew me in sixth grade, like, you did not want to talk to me at all. Like, actually,
Yeah,
You were
we
weird in
weaves
seventh grade
were
and eighth grade.
for real,
weaves
for real.
were basically discriminated like 3 years ago.
Really were. I mean, Isaac hasn't watched like
Uh,
a lot of, or he
yeah,
has.
I,
Isaac, didn't
I
you
I
start?
haven't like. All right, I've watched a lot of anime, but I haven't started. Or I've started watching anime for about like a year now, and I've surpassed these two monkeys.
Exactly, it's like literally
Crazy.
not
Um,
fair.
yeah, but I think for me, what kind of got me start watching anime was from Joel. I don't know what we were like, talking about, but then Joel was like, "Hey, real life is pretty good," because
Really
I
is
think
good.
you're watching real life at the time.
Yeah.
You know what? I'll just take a look at real life, see what's up. So, technically, real life was my first like anime that I've ever watched. Um, which is pretty interesting. But I think technically for me, like what I would count as like my first anime that was like made like a good impression for me is Death Note. At the
Yes,
same time,
facts.
Mm.
me and Joel watched it together like through like
Zoom.
Zoom.
Yeah, I know. That's what I was saying. You use Discord.
Zoom? You guys use
Yes,
Zoom?
we didn't even
What
use
do you use
Discord. We
Discord?
used Zoom.
Why?
I don't
Wait, don't you have
know.
to pay though?
But the thing is, like, maybe if you, I don't know. I think back then, like, okay, Discord's fine for me now, but like when we tried using Discord, it was just like, I don't know why, it just didn't work. Like when we used to
I
watch
don't even
anime.
remember like having like using Discord often at all. Like at that time. Um.
Dang.
Yeah, and
I
then
use Discord for
yeah,
the
actually,
longest.
before even real life, I heard people from like our church talking about anime, and it was David. A lot of you guys probably won't know him, but there's this dude named David, and at the time, your name actually
Yo,
came
your
up.
Yeah,
mic.
you're right.
Your mic
Really?
is diseased,
I
bro.
was like,
Oh
oh,
no.
it's the
Diseased.
David. That's all I'm hearing.
It's diseased.
Hello, hello, hello.
Yeah,
Ah,
Yeah, you good.
that's good.
yeah.
All right, so at the time, with a friend named David, he was talking about your
Hey, if
name,
David's watching this,
'cause it just
I love
released.
you.
It just released like at that time, so I was like, you know what? I'll take a look at your name. And I bought your name off of a Google Play Movies.
Bro, why?
No,
Why?
no, cause like I didn't know any like pirated sites. I didn't like have like any like information on anything, and I was just looking through Google Play, and I was like, you know what? I'll just buy your name. Yeah, I'll rent your name. So
Nice.
that's how I ended up watching. I guess my first ever like anime movie.
Mhm. Right.
Hmm.
So yeah, I basically just used up like $4 for no reason.
Um, well, for me, it's like, I guess you could say I've been watching anime for the longest, but I also don't want to admit I did because I think
Yeah.
everyone as a kid watched like Dragon
Hey, you
Ball,
kind of have to.
Naruto,
Pokemon.
yeah, like and like
Yeah.
Spirit Away and all that, and that was like my whole childhood just watching that,
Mm.
and like I think what when I really got into anime was after I watched Weathering Two. I think it was with David, Phil, and like other girls, right?
Down
And
bad.
they're watching it. I don't know, maybe it was last year.
I think yeah, I think it
I
was
don't
last
remember
year. I
when.
remember you guys
I'm pretty
going.
sure it was last
Yeah.
year.
Yeah, I watched it. Wait, Isaac, you're with us, right?
I was I was like there for the conversation, but I didn't go.
Yeah, I didn't. I mean, I had a
Oh,
tournament literally the
Oh,
next
you
day, so I
yeah.
did.
kind of can't go. But
So I remember watching that. It was pretty good, and then I watched Your Name right after, and I was like,
you didn't
"Wow,
watch your
dude,
name
the
Wait,
studio."
Bro, you
I
you watched Weathering You first?
bro,
Yeah, I
how?
did.
What?
Yeah, I know, I know, I
I mean,
know, I
that's
Wow.
kind
know.
of I don't know. I
Yeah,
mean, your name's way better, but
I know. All right, we get it, bro. I'm a nerd. Anyways, so yeah, I watched that, and that got me into anime, and I started rewatching Naruto. So as in, like, I
mm,
caught up with it,
yeah.
and then I also caught up with Dragon Ball, and
Wait,
then
really?
Z, and then Super, and all that. Yeah, I
Dragon
did.
Ball.
All the
Yeah, I
way to
watched
Super,
Dragon
dude?
Ball
That's
for a
that's
while.
so many episodes.
That's a lot.
Yeah, I know, but I watched it with like my cousin because my cousin he got
Yeah.
me in. He first of all he got me into anime.
Mm.
My cousin he got me into it like because
Uh,
just like out of the day I was playing Minecraft on my Xbox. And he was like, "Oh, you gotta watch anime." Like,
Mike.
what's anime? And then they were like, "Yeah, you got a problem with Minecraft?"
Nah,
So I
nah.
thought. And so yeah, and so he was like, "Oh, we can just watch Naruto." So we watched Naruto, and then we watched Spirit Away. We watched Howling, and I was like, I was a kid, so I thought it was cool.
Mhm.
But I didn't really take it serious because I liked watching like other
What?
stuff,
High School DxD.
degenerate stuff. And I
uh,
think actually what got me into anime, so like right now, this 1 year, was I think I told this to you yesterday, Joe,
Yeah, you
but
did tell me.
it was Monster Mizzou. I was the horniest guy that
Masamune,
day.
Bro,
freaking
I
man.
remember that anime, dude. I
Then
remember,
I watched it.
bro. I literally, like, I remember in sixth grade. I think that's when it aired. Like, I remember Giga, the AniTuber Giga, right? Like him talking about the anime, and then literally, bro, the first thing I did after I watched his like anime of like the summer, I literally went to like what's it called? Kiss Anime and I searched up Monster Musume and I watched it the whole night.
Dude, I
Oh.
watched it. I was horny
So
for
you
it. I
binged
was like
it?
ready
Yeah,
to
pretty
jerk off,
much.
but like, you know what I'm
Oh
saying?
no.
I didn't because I'm the real one. I binged it. Yeah. I was down bad. I was
It's
Wow.
like
it's a
nighttime.
terrible
Every
anime
single
though.
time I heard something outside. I like pretend I fell asleep. You know, like those type of things.
Yeah.
Those were the days. But yeah, Monster Musume was the anime that really got me into anime.
I think.
So I was down bad. I was thirsty.
Yeah.
That I don't
I
know if you
think.
can take pride in that.
I know. No, but I watched One Piece. I mean, One Punch Man. I watched One Punch
Everyone's watching
Man
One
a
Punch Man.
lot. Yeah, I think this
Bro,
was
season
like
two though.
so. I watched anime now and then.
Mm, let me
Yeah.
see.
I think what really got me back into it was like Demon Slayer. Cause I remember watching it when I was like sick. I think I say last year, like around this time. Like I was sick, like during finals, right? And literally, I was like, you know what?
Mm.
I've just seen everyone talking about Demon Slayer, so I just checked it out and I literally watched the whole thing in like a day. And
And
I was like,
I think I binged it like
it's
from
actually
beginning to end, like in
like
one sitting.
like I don't think it's
Said
like
me
the
too.
best show ever, like people say, but it's just so enjoyable.
It is
It's
really
good,
entertaining. It's really
dude.
entertaining.
Like the studio, like
UFO
they
table,
actually
yeah.
You
amazing
UFO
food
UFO
table.
table killed it
Yeah,
with
dude.
Demon Slayer, absolutely.
hmm Same with Face
And then
Series. They killed it with Face Series too.
yeah, they did
Really?
kill it with Face here as well. And like with the hype of like episode 19
Dude, that was
too.
actually insane. I
hmm
remember, bro,
Every
I was
Amazing.
sick and I was just jumping in the air. I was like, let's go,
The
let's go,
OST,
Tanjiro. I know
the
the
OST was
OST,
OST.
so pogs, dude. So good. Oh
definitely
man,
my favorite OST of like 2019.
For sure.
for
I'd probably say.
sure.
But
But
better than
then,
Vinland?
nah, Vinland, man.
Vinland has really good like openings and endings, but
hmm
there's not like one OST that sticks out to
I
me.
mean, yeah.
Like
hmm
overall, it's good.
I don't
Like
know.
I like Demon Slayer. There's that one kind of like OST
That's
just
true.
hits hard.
hmm But I'm telling you,
Opening though.
Vinland's better than Demon Slayer for sure,
I
in
mean,
my
yeah, that's
opinion.
kind of obvious, dude.
I think us three can agree that Vinland is
Keep in
better.
mind, it was a build up, and
Yeah,
a
that's
build
true.
up beat like the anime. You know what I
I
mean?
mean, I think Demon Slayer first season was a build up as well.
Yeah, it was, but
Like
I
it
think
introduced like a couple of like the
yeah,
low tiers and like the high
the mid
tiers, like
tiers.
That is true,
or
I guess.
But
But like, if
I
I'm
I don't
comparing it to Vinland,
that's true. Cause dude,
yeah.
Vinland's so different from any other like anime I've watched. Like especially for
hmm
2019, like
Mm-hmm.
so under the radar.
Mm-hmm.
it's like you barely see like Vikings. You know what I mean? So like that's like I think my first time ever actually seeing Vikings in an anime.
Sick.
In the anime, I like I've seen plenty of like Vikings in like different shows, but like in anime,
hmm
I
How
don't
to Train
think
Your
there's any
Dragon.
other like anime like yeah,
Speechless.
And
How
then
to Train Your Dragon for sure.
Speechless, bro.
for real, dude, that we already know who we're talking about. That one girl simped for that man MC. If you
Yeah,
guys
she was kind
know
of
what I'm talking
bad.
about. Whoa, you think she's bad, bro?
bro,
You're
bro,
weird.
isn't she 18 at
Nah,
the end
you're
of the?
weird, bro.
Never mind.
Is she 18? I don't know.
Hold on, so.
Either
How old are
way,
you? I thought
yeah,
that's what I
yeah.
thought. That's what I thought.
Yeah. All right.
So, this is our first podcast, right? So, like, how about we explain like our top fives? Just top fives
Top
right
five.
now at the moment.
Oh,
At
I
the
had to think about that
moment. How about we all start from five? Like we all share our
one. Okay,
fives, and then we'll all share fours,
Yeah.
all share
okay.
threes, and then we'll
Oh,
continue to go
it's
down
hard
until
because
we get to
I,
one.
like mine's been changing a lot recently.
Mine's definitely been
Mine's
changing a
too.
lot as well.
Yeah.
Mm.
Like, are we
Um,
talking about the top
Mine
five?
changed a
Wait.
lot.
Are we talking about top five like favorite, or are we talking about top five like
just favorite in general.
okay?
Favorite.
Yeah.
Favorite.
All right.
Uh, let's see.
So I can start out, I
Yeah,
guess.
go ahead.
I think my fifth one is between FMOB and Serial Experience Lane. Like for no reason. Like
Really?
I don't know how I felt about it, but I really like Serial Experience
Dude,
Lane.
that's what I'm
Mm.
telling you, bro. Like,
But then I also enjoyed Full Metal Alchemist,
yeah.
right? Brotherhood, obviously. Like that's just obviously like everyone
Mm.
can admit like that's just
Yeah.
it was pretty much perfect, right?
Mm.
So it's like it's really hard because Serial Experience Lane also obviously had a lot of flaws, right?
Mhm.
Same with obviously Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood. But I feel like Brotherhood they like executed it so good compared to Serial Experience Lane because you have to like think for Serial Experience
That's
Lane, right? You have
true.
to think about it
Yeah.
and like you have to analyze it. While for Mob, like they just give you the message of it and it's just
Mhm.
straight
Yeah,
there.
that's
You
true.
know what I mean?
That's true.
So
Uh,
it's between those two for
yeah.
me.
I see.
Is that your reasoning? Or you have more to say?
I mean,
Yeah.
I'm not trying to waste time, so I'm a good boy.
I think for me, number five would like, man, people are gonna be hate for this, but honestly, my hero, like Samurai one.
Load
No, I'll just say like,
zero.
because obviously I don't think it's like the greatest like just even shonen in general. I don't think it's the greatest shonen at all. But like, man, the impact it has on me is actually insane. Like, I've never been had a show where like like it literally made me motivate to like work out and like just lose weight. Like it never
For real.
like my goodness, dude. Especially I think what episode was it? Or even the first season. Like I know first season was pretty mid, right? But I think when you see
Hmm.
Deku training and like just pushing through everything, you just want to go outside and just like run or like just work out. And like I think for me, especially because like even just like how the plot is and how the story goes, it's just like so enjoyable. Like every episode
Mm.
feels so enjoyable. I mean, besides season four, because season four was like it's pretty
Yeah.
garbage.
Like what the heck was that?
I know,
What
but
the
yeah,
heck? First part was good though. I'll have to
yeah, I
admit,
like
I
the first
liked the
part.
first part,
I think
but
the
then
yeah,
Oh, like Aries cute. She's
but
absolutely
dude, even in the
adorable.
like
Like
I'm reading the
when she
manga, she
smiles
doesn't
in
even
the
do anything.
festival,
Yeah,
hmm
absolutely amazing.
hmm
but that whole festival thing was like not needed at all.
The villain was absolutely unnecessary. If they got rid of the villain and it was just a regular slice of life festival, I
Yeah,
would have been fine with that. But
hmm
like the introduction to that villain was,
so dumb.
I
But
think, was extremely unnecessary and very boring.
I think Overhaul was like really wasted too as a villain.
Really, overall
Overhaul
was
was
a waste
wasted,
of a character. I will
Oh my,
say they could have developed his character a lot
yeah,
more.
but like he impacted the anime in my opinion.
He did make a sharp change
Yeah.
into
yeah. Because I think
the addition of Eri.
because once we get to season
hmm
five, like a lot of things go darker, especially with the
Yeah.
villains. So we shall see.
All right. And then for me, number five, I'd have to say is Madoka Magica.
mm.
So
Facts. I love that
all
too.
three of us, absolutely. I mean, I'm the one here that absolutely loves Madoka Magica, and
Yeah.
then everyone else as well likes it. But I think what's is so unique for me about Madoka Magica is, I'm not the biggest fan of like deep series like Joel. Like probably not as much as like John as well. I'm more kind of
hmm
like the relaxed, kind of like chill. Like I wanna, like watch my
mm
anime, like have it like entertaining time. Like that's why like my favorite genre is comedy.
hmm
Um, but I think for Madoka Magica, we're seeing like how there's magical girls, how there's like this concept that's so like happy and so upbeat turns so like dark, so like
hmm
gruesome.
Hmm.
uh is very, I don't know, it really caught my attention into like the world of like deep anime.
Yeah.
um and then as well as like the OSTs, the
But
opening,
oh, she's actually amazing.
the character of Homura, which I think
hmm
is like an absolutely goated
Such a
written
well-written character.
character.
Yeah, for sure.
The theme of love,
Mm.
which for such a like a popular like like idea, like the theme of like love in general is so like not shown in anime like a
Yeah, I
lot.
agree. I agree.
Like there's like the topic of like friendship, there's
Mm.
the topic of like family, but like in general of just like love, like what is
Yeah.
love? I think Madoka plays like writes it so like perfectly.
Yeah, for sure.
hmm
And I think that's why Madoka is definitely like in my top five.
Mm.
hmm So I guess my fourth favorite one. I feel like I think most of us has out of four. I don't remember, but mine's Code Geass.
Hmm.
Like
Well, I changed.
I think
I changed mine.
is it Beck?
Yeah. But
Okay,
you
okay.
go on. Go
But
on.
I think the reason why like I absolutely enjoyed Code was the unpredictable and like
That's
shocking
true. Oh
plot
my dude.
twist.
I'm not gonna spoil
Like
the ending, but like,
Yeah,
man. If you guys don't haven't watched Code,
the
just
Holy
watch Code,
moly,
bro.
bro! Like
Like,
it's amazing.
I
Like
understand it.
Mhm.
the ending,
Yeah.
like you didn't understand.
Hmm.
Like you didn't know what was happening, but then just bam, like that. You know what I mean? Just bam, right there in your face. I'm just like,
Yeah.
what the frick? My mind
Mhm.
is so blown, and like everything that happened through like the first, like the last like couple episodes just made sense. Because for
Okay.
me, I was a little confused like the last couple episodes because I
Yeah.
was
I was
like,
like,
oh, how is this gonna end? You know what I mean? Like,
exactly.
Yeah.
how is
Sure.
this gonna end? Like, I don't know how it's ending. But then, bam, it just hits you with that, and it's and also like the people manipulation. It's like
Mhm.
I feel like maybe it could be better than like Death Note, but it's like around like you know what I mean. Like it has
Yeah.
pretty good like I guess strategy and like people manipulation for the characters.
Hmm.
So that's why I really liked it. And Mecha, I think that's like my
Um.
first time ever watching Mecha too, which is weird to say, but it is.
Um.
I think Code was also my first mecha, I'd say.
It's,
Yeah.
it's my it was my last manga that I watched.
Out of, like NG,
Gundam.
Gundam,
Gundam
Gurren
Lagann.
Lagann.
Yeah. Pretty much. Yeah.
Interesting. Yeah.
I think for number four, I put Code before, but I just finished Beck, and man, Beck actually hit me so hard. Like I don't know what it is, but pretty much so it's an anime about this boy named Yukio who tries to learn guitar and tries to join this band called Beck, which is named after a dog. And I think like I say mid series, it's a solid 8 out of 10. Like oh, it's just like really like wholesome or not really wholesome, but it's like a slice of life of a just a teenager like and his band just like trying to make it big. But I think towards the end, especially towards the end, when you see like how he develops as a character and how much he's changed ever since the first episode, like I literally bawled at the end. Like no other, I don't know how to say this. Like
Interesting.
no other slice of life anime. I mean, I wouldn't really say NHK was a real slice of life because it's more comedy kind of. But I think Beck was like the first slice of anime where I like it really impacted me. Like I wouldn't say there's like a specific like thematic message, but it's more like man, like I really want to like, live out my youth right now, type of thing. So that's why it's
Like,
number
what
four.
was the character development like expected?
Yeah, but I think the way they handled it and like how do I describe it? Like I think through the songs that he writes or the songs he sings, like you see like how he's changed
Mm,
and like cause
I see.
the
I see.
first like his first songs are more like it's just more definitely like wanting love like cause there's a girl named Mahoko I forgot her name something starts with an M right and like him like as the story progresses, he ends with a song with called it's literally like my favorite song right now called Slip Out. And it's pretty
Mm,
much a song about how like we don't know what life brings us, right? But at the same time we gotta keep going forward. And I think that song at the end literally made me cry. Cause
Mm-hmm.
man, Beck actual 10 out of 10. So yeah,
and lyrics to songs can hit
I know.
hard, man.
Yeah, it really
Right,
does.
for sure. Um, for me, it may come out a surprise for you two. But for number four for me, as of right now, is actually Steins Gate,
Wait,
which
I
it
thought it
used to
was
be.
Number
Used to
two,
be
right?
number two for me. Um, but throughout like the course of kind of like time after like reflecting and like seeing the beauty of other anime and how it applies to me,
Mm-hmm.
I absolutely love Steins Gate. Steins Gate, I would say, is what got me addicted to anime and was able to make me watch more anime than these guys. So yeah, I don't think there's much to like say about Steins Gate except for like all the praise it already like gets. Like the
Mm.
plot from start to finish. For a time travel anime where there's a bunch of other time travel anime like ReZero, Erased. Um, like I think not only does Steins Gate like do it so much better, but like they explain it along like the
yeah,
way, like what time travel is, like beta line, like alpha line, what is Steins Gate.
for sure.
um and like also like the I guess you could say the psychological trauma like Okabe has like through time skipping like time leaping
Mhm.
through failure and like I for like many like time travel animes that's kind of like a reoccurring theme like for the one who is kind of like time leaping or time traveling they go through like a psychological like trauma
Mhm.
because of like some sort of reason whether that's like Subaru like dying Madoka Magica you guys know and like with Okabe not being able to do what he can in like a certain timeline like I think it paints such a perfect like vision of like what is trauma like why is he getting trauma from like something that like people could probably say like as a blessing like being able to time leap
Mhm.
so yeah, like like I absolutely love Steins Gate. Steins Gate like was the reason I got like absolutely addicted to anime.
Mhm.
So number four is still really high, like for me, but there are a couple ones that I do love more at the moment.
Great,
Yeah,
good
three.
explanation. So three. This is kind of also pretty generic number three, but AOT.
Yeah,
Like
for
Mm-hmm.
I
sure.
feel like it's gonna go higher because
We
how
could,
far
we
it's
could.
going.
Dude, season
Right.
my goodness, man.
Amazing. But it's like for me the reason why I like AOT is because it's very like it's obviously a unique idea, right? And it's very
Yeah,
different.
for sure.
And it's also like I love how the fact that like there's no like pretty much if you think about it, there's no protagonist or antagonist in the
Yeah,
show. It's
Yeah,
just like it's either
it's like villain.
you just decide which side you want to be on. And I feel
yeah,
like not a lot of sorry, not a lot of
Anime.
animes can like actually do that where to the point where
Yeah.
like, the people like as us decide like what is good and what is bad.
yeah.
You know what I mean? That's why I enjoyed it so much because I liked hearing like other people's opinions about it, you know. Like it's a very like open minded anime
Hmm.
and that's why I really enjoyed it.
Hmm.
Mm.
True. Like, I've never had, I've never watched any other anime where I've been as hyped as AOT. Like,
Indeed, dude.
The
Oh, freaking love this. Oh,
like
sorry.
the Titan fights, the reveals,
my
the
Mm-hmm.
goodness, the transformations.
once we figured out everything from like the basement too,
Yeah.
like
For real.
Like it.
everything was just like
Like
excitement after excitement.
every season
Mm,
just destroys other season. It always
indeed.
like gets better, better. It's actually
Oh,
insane.
for sure.
Yeah.
Season four will knock the socks out of everyone for sure.
But the CGI, bro. The CGI.
CGI is different,
I'm not
but
really
justice for
bothered by it.
Mappa. Mappa
Yeah,
needs our support.
for sure.
Yeah, dude. They're
Chainsaw Man.
struggling out there.
They are
But that's what they
absolutely
but
struggling.
yeah, but that's what they wanted, so it's like,
I
you know
know
what I
this
mean?
guy.
Can't really do anything about
They
it.
kind of brought it upon
Yeah.
themselves,
Yeah.
but you know what? AOT lies in their hands, and we want to enjoy AOT.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So for my number three spot is Welcome to the NHK, and
Hmm.
I think the reason why I picked this show is because, like, I think when I first watched this show, it was around eighth grade, and I think I was going through like a lot of things, and especially watching this show where it's about an MC where he so he's a broke college student. I mean, he got kicked out of college because he just sucks, and then he just lives by
Yeah.
himself and just plays some
Mm-hmm.
pornographic games, and that's all he does.
Pornographic games.
And then
Nice.
somehow this girl, I forgot her name. Let me search this up.
Mm.
What's it called?
Dang,
Misaki,
imagine
right?
top three, but you
I
don't
know
even
for
know the
real.
name.
Misaki pretty much has this program called the NHK program where she tries to help out the main character from stop being from a NEET, which is like, or Nisai Shikamori, which is like someone who just stays indoors, doesn't have a job, doesn't go to school,
Mm-hmm.
Mm.
and especially I think the moments where it hit me hard is when he's laughing by himself, but then he knows inside that he's just so miserable. That Sato is just so
Mm.
miserable with all the things he has, and I think especially towards the end, it isn't an ending where it's like a traumatic or dramatic like sequence, but it's just like life. Like you find a job and then
Mm-hmm.
it just goes.
Yeah.
And I think I've never had a show where it was so realistic, even to like my own life. and like especially with the themes of whether it's like, I mean, I'm not gonna say I'm like I was never suicidal, but this show it like covers those things, and like it
Mm.
covers in ways where it's at times it's lighthearted, but at times when it's serious, like man, it hits you so hard, and that's why it's
Mm.
my
Yeah,
number three.
I see.
Yeah, I know a lot of people, at least like just like from like Reddit and all that, and like a
Mhm.
lot of people talk about how like NHK like really hit them hard,
Yeah.
and they really just opened their minds about like, oh, that's literally me, and that I need like
Hmm.
shaping up myself. And I've seen like a lot of forums about like how like NHK like helped me actually. I know this sounds really cliche, but like it helped me like change my life and my attitude towards life,
Hmm.
and like actually become a better person.
Yeah.
So
For
Hmm.
sure.
yeah.
Like that's the beauty of like anime, man. Like
Mm-hmm.
there are like certain animes out there where they'll literally like change your like life.
Mm,
And
indeed.
I know that's like definitely happened with me with like a couple animes. Like whether that's like
Mm-hmm.
motivation, it's like it inspires me. Like for people who absolutely despise anime because they don't think they can get anything is
Mm-hmm.
they're dumb. Absolutely
I don't know. At
stupid.
least just try it.
Yeah.
Yeah, but anyways, for me, number three, which has absolutely flown up from like like pretty low to now three, is actually Assassination Classroom.
Ah, whoa, what the
Yeah,
heck?
yeah,
Wait, that's
it
Whoa.
shot up absolutely.
Whoa. That wasn't even your
And
top
I'll
10.
tell you, I'll tell you the reason because it used to not even be like in my top
Hmm.
10 until kind of like recently. So as these boys know, I've been reading through the Assassination Classroom manga.
Hmm.
Mm,
Um, yeah, because like it may not have been like in my top 10 previously, but like I absolutely loved it, like the idea, because like I want to be like grow up as like a teacher.
mhm,
Um, so like I absolutely loved like Koro Sensei. I absolutely loved just like the school aspect of everything.
mm,
Um, like for me, like I preferred GTO like for the longest time because like Onizuka is absolutely like the best teacher. Like for me, I still consider him better than Koro Sensei.
mm,
Um, but I think what's so beautiful about like Assassination Classroom is as much as like Onizuka absolutely cares about like his students and like does crazy stuff like jumping off like a bike from like a highway to like catch a student. Um, like I think the pure heart of Koro Sensei is like it absolutely gets to me.
Hmm.
And like for John who's only watched season one, and then
I
Joel
haven't
who
watched
hasn't
it.
even watched Assassination Classroom, the ending really hits hard. Because the whole kind of like series is about like the students trying to kill Koro Sensei because Koro
mm,
Sensei is threatening to destroy the world within a year or before they graduate or when
mm,
they graduate. Um, so it's kind of predictable as to like where the direction is going. Like the classroom has to like kill their teacher, but like throughout their like journey, they love the teacher, so it's hard to kill him.
Hmm.
mm,
Um, and like it's definitely made apparent in season two more than season one because the season one, they're just getting used to like Koro Sensei,
yeah.
as like a teacher, but they still like like care for him and still try to kill him.
Mhm.
But like yeah, season two, like the ending absolutely made me bawl. And like even reading the
Wow.
manga, like even reading the manga has like, it brings back those like memories of just like wow, like I want to be like Koro Sensei, like I want to be like that teacher, who if people are trying to like kill me or people are trying to like hate me, like I'll still like my number one thing is to like like to care for them, to like love for them. And I think that that's been made so apparent for me when my focus is trying to become like a teacher. Uh, Yeah, Assassination Classroom has absolutely killed it. Like for me, skyrocketing up like to three for me right now. Yeah.
Mm. Well, so for my number two, this is probably the most uncommon, like, I guess, top five, right? I don't think I ever met anyone. This is like the first time. But it is the original Berserk. So I think it was made
Mm.
I want to say 1997, 1998, around there.
1996 or 1997,
Yeah,
somewhere
around
around
there.
there.
And
Somewhere.
personally, the
What show
reason
was that?
why I liked it was because, um, so in the anime they animated like this one arc called the Gorn arc, and honestly, personally, from reading the manga and also like watching the original anime, I believe that's probably my favorite arc in general, the
Hmm.
Golden Arc, because also it's the arc of like a war that was pretty much for like it's like been raged for like 100 years, and like
Mm.
Guts was hired by a company. I forgot what the company was called, but like to fight for its like I guess the leader's dream, right? And so it's just him Guts fighting, and then you see like Griffith there, like his the antagonist, and it's like the first time you ever get to see Guts' real emotions. I don't want to spoil what happens. Like something happens to someone that he loves,
Hmm.
and he just goes ham. And like you've never seen this man have
Mm.
emotions because from the start, like his life sucked. Like I think Griffith made his life like terrible. You know, this man was sold by people. You know, he was raped by a freaking goblin, right? And like he just had the worst life as a child could be. So he's just a very cold person, and the one person he cared about, like, just gets pretty disturbing, right? But
Hmm.
it's like something that scarred him and he'll never forget. And you
Right.
just see it. And like the thing is why I liked it is because it's the first time you ever get to see like an arc of like a backstory. Because you know, like backstories usually like longest like an episode or two, or like maybe like like 10 minutes, right?
Hmm.
But this man gets a whole arc in like around like 7 or 8 episodes, or maybe even 10. He just gets a
Mm.
whole arc of himself, of his life, and so you get to understand this character to the
Mm.
point where like you understand why he does these things, like why he's so cold, why he's so like of a rude person to others. It's because you know and you like understand him like a human being. Like you feel like that you know him in person, and that all you want to do is root for him because this man went through a lot, right? And then
Yeah.
the thing is, you know how usual MCs are like, I want to say generic MCs are like, oh, it's all about friends, you know, family, right?
Hmm.
For Guts, it's like a whole different story. Like he has the most, I want to say the most realistic or most humanized like motive is to just kill Griffith, right? And I feel like that's the most. I know it sounds really pretty dark, but I
Yeah.
feel like that's the most realistic thing of a human. Like, you know what I mean? Because most humans wouldn't like help someone out, right? After all, like he's just this man's just broken. Like he's just a broken person, right? He doesn't have time to save someone, right? But his just one motive is that he doesn't care if like something happens. He just keeps on going, right? And she never gives up because that's just one motive. It's just kill Griffith. So
Mm.
I feel like this anime really like it just blew my mind how like how like you just it's just the character development, I guess. Like it just blew my mind how amazing the development of the characters were.
Yeah.
And I know that's like obviously the plot was amazing. I think the plot, the settings, like I thought the setting was amazing. You know what I mean? It's like medieval, but it's not really medieval. I mean, actually, it is medieval, right? But it's like
Mm.
it's not what you think of a medieval time, right?
Right.
It's
Yeah.
really different. Like so, I feel like Berserk is really unique, and I like it. And if you ever if any of you guys ever watch Berserk original, like I recommend you guys to read the manga. But I guarantee you, some of you guys, especially for you, Isaac, I genuinely think you wouldn't like Berserk because first
Mm.
of all, it's very disturbing,
Yeah.
right? Like I'm pretty sure there's like this one scene where like this horse, I guess it's demon, it's like a demon, but it's a horse, like pretty much rapes the girl, right? So it gets pretty dark. It's pretty
Interesting.
dark. It's a dark fantasy, first of all, right? And it's
Yeah.
Yeah.
like
It's like.
gory and it's just really disgusting. And I feel like because
Mm.
I'm at like around 100 chapters, it gets more and more disgusting. But you get to like, because Guts gets better as a character. You know, he finally understands. You know,
Mm.
still the same person, still cold. Like you're still rooting for him. You
Yeah.
know, yeah. And the Golden Arc. If you guys ever get into the Golden Arc, like even the viewers, Oh, it's so good. Like you guys would actually think it's one of the best arcs of all time, in my opinion. I thought it was, and many people say it is too.
Mm.
If any of what I said made sense, first of all, because
No,
I
I think it
just
makes sense.
ranted.
Yeah, I got you.
For
I
sure, for
I
sure.
think number two for me is Zero Experience Lane. I think
Mhm.
like even watching it without any explanation, I was like, I knew it was at least a nine, just like just because of all the things that they throw at us. Whether it's just like per episode, there's clues that you can pick up, you can take it for your own
Mm,
interpretation. But I think, especially like watching explanation videos on YouTube, like, dude, they help out a lot just with all that's going
mm,
on. I think, especially because it was made in like what, 1998, somewhere like around that.
Mhm.
Yeah,
mm-hmm,
like
Yeah.
it really, if you look at the thematic message of it, which is that we're like we need human connection. We don't if we just hide behind like a screen or like have our own personas in the internet, what
mm-hmm,
is that gonna bring out of us? Like we're dehumanizing ourselves, and especially with like how even like with how Lane is a character, is a character, like how she's structured. She isn't like the most like developed character I'd say, but the way they structured her with her own egos, which being well, there's alter ego Lane, there's also the wired Lane, and there's also just herself as a human. I think
mm-hmm.
that's really interesting because if you really think about that, it kind of reflects ourselves, especially how we act on the internet, and how we act in real life, and how what we want
Yeah.
to act like. And I think just with all the things like how like technology is advancing now, like who knows if something like the Wired exists. So
Mm-hmm.
I think that's
That
why
is
it's my
very
number two.
true. It
That is true.
predicted within like a couple, like 2 decades
Yeah.
ahead. It was ahead of
Mm-hmm.
its time, for sure.
I also want to add something to Berserk because I totally forgot to talk about this. And it's very
Yeah.
sorry. I know it's
No,
also a
go ahead,
very
go ahead.
annoying topic. Like during the backstory, like it's not just his life. They also set up like the protagonist, as in Guts and Griffith's like relationship together,
Hmm.
and so it's like you get to understand both ways of
Yeah.
why they like I guess hate each other and dislike each other and
Mhm.
why like they're attacking each other. I just want to say, and I think Griffith is one of the best antagonists in my opinion because he also feels like more of like a realistic
Hmm.
antagonist. Like I feel like when people like you would understand the more it's really complicated to explain because he's a really complicated person. But like once you get to understand like the relationship, you get to understand like he's more of like a humanized, pretty much a human antagonist.
Yeah.
If that makes sense. Like
Mm,
more realistic to this world. Sorry,
True.
sweet. All
sorry,
right. No, no problem.
You nerd.
All right.
bro.
So for me, number two is Natsume Yujincho or Natsume
Mm,
Book of Friends,
Interesting.
and I briefly discussed what it was to Joel, and I don't think John knows whatsoever what this story is about.
nope.
So I'll kind of like go over what it is, and then like why it's like this high up, like for me. So basically, there's this main protagonist called Natsume. He has the power, or he has the ability to see yokai, which is kind of like
Yokai Watch.
the which is supernatural like monsters or like kind of like spirits
Hmm.
that like are like Japanese like folk tales.
Right.
Mm,
Um, and Natsume is basically one of like the only people like kind of like in the world. Well, I wouldn't say in the world, but he's like a very rare case where he is able to see these yokai, and like nobody else in like his family is able to, except for his grandma, which I'll get
mm-hmm,
into in a sec. So from his parents to so for Natsume, like his parents, like everyone, every part of like every guardian he had would very like look at him very funnily, and they would pass them on to a different guardian.
mm, interesting.
Because like they're like, oh, like there's something wrong with this kid, like I don't want him to like jeopardize or like the reputation of like our family. So he continues to get passed down by like guardians until this really kind of like, I guess, like extended bloodline like takes him in.
Mm-hmm,
um and he has with him which is called like a notebook that is called the Book of Friends, where his grandma was able to see yokai as well. And the same scenario happened with her in Natsume, where she would kind of like be seen as very weird, and like very like an outcast.
Mm.
And so she has this notebook of called the Book of Friends, and basically what it is if a yokai writes their name in a paper and puts it in the Book of Friends, the holder of the Book of Friends is able to control that yokai, able to
Mm.
command it, be able to do anything with it. And so out of entertainment, Natsume's grandma, I forgot her name, but I'll just proceed to call her grandma. But she's seen as a young girl throughout the whole story, so you don't see her as a grandma, but like you see
Yeah.
her as around like the high school age. And so she goes around like with a lot of like seeing a lot of yokais, making a lot of bets. Um, and she was very like I guess you could say like spiritually powerful, and that's how she's able to kind of like win these bets. Um, and
Mm-hmm.
so she passes on, and Natsume has the book of like friends, and all these yokai are coming after him to get that book of friends, so they could obtain all that power.
Mm.
And
Interesting.
there's some yokai that simply want their name out of it so they could be free, and there's other yokai that want to attack Natsume, trying to get that book of friends to gain all that power.
Mm.
Um, and so that's kind of like the summary of like what is Natsume's Book of Friends, and then to get into why I really feel like it impacts me like a lot, is first of all like Natsume. For me, he's not only a character you can relate to, but he's like a character that inspires you, or like he motivates you, because you see him going through these trials, you see him going through all these like troubles of like yokai and even like people, and like calling him weird and stuff like that. But he proceeds to like be able to like push through and be able to like get through it all, which I found really like motivating like in my life as well. And I forgot to mention, like in the beginning of the series, he meets a cat, which is basically becomes his like bodyguard. Uh, Nyanko Sensei, absolutely amazing and furry. And I think another thing is like the theme of Natsume's Book of Friends is uh like relationship, like human relationship, relationships with others, uh and like you see like the kind of like the stories of these yokais and like how they got into the Book of Friends and like what the grandma did. And you see like all these kind of like there's like really tragic backstories, there's really like sometimes like depressing like backstories, and like you see like Natsume being their hope, to be able to free them from all this trouble, which is I think why like I absolutely love Natsume's Book of Friends, and I've definitely talked a lot, but yeah.
Mm.
So
Thanks for the
mid, bro.
info.
So mid.
Now I'm interested in it
So mid.
actually. It's a very
But yeah, let's go into our
Oh
number
man.
one.
Oh man, it's gonna be long.
all right.
Ugh.
So I don't know if this is like a generic number one as
I
well,
think it's. I think.
but
I feel like a lot of people have
yeah,
our ones.
A lot of people have ones for it, but
yeah.
like it's not a bad thing.
No, I
That
meant
just
like
means like
a lot of
that
people.
that anime is highly regarded as a really good anime.
No, I meant like a
Hmm.
lot of people have our ones. Like our number one.
Oh yeah,
For sure.
for sure, for sure.
Yeah, but I think for me personally is Cowboy Bebop.
Mhm.
And so the reason why it's like okay, because I know a lot of people, but like example for Isaac, I mean you still liked it, right?
Yeah, I liked it.
But like to make it go like oh it's amazing is like I guess now people like the storytelling. I mean sorry the episodic storytelling, which
Episodic. Not episodic.
episodic sorry right. I personally liked it, but I
Mhm.
think the main reason why they did it was because they were trying to focus on the characters, like the characters'
Mhm.
development and like their
Right.
daily lives more than the central plot. Which me personally, I love like character development and like getting to know characters. Like that's why Berserk was one of my favorite because I really got to know Guts and
Mhm.
it felt like I guess like I had like a certain relationship with him,
Mhm.
right? And like you really get to understand like what's their strengths, what their weaknesses, and like what they're thinking, right? And I think it's like, and it's pretty much like a daily life of like cowboys, you know, just
Right.
like a
Yeah.
group of people just coming together, right? You know, just like in a crew of bounty hunters, like just go and then they just go their separate ways, right? And like I think it, to, I think it's like something that Cowboy Bebop. Oh man, like sorry, I don't know how to say this, but like Cowboy Bebop is like it's like a pretty good example of like quality over quantity. Does that make sense?
That is
Like
true.
when it comes
That's
to like
true.
how episodes like go,
Mm.
right?
Mm.
And that's why I really enjoyed it was because it was like you know quality over quantity, and I really enjoyed like how in depth how it goes lots to depth of it, right? The
Yeah.
episodes, and like you can pretty much for me you can like literally watch it over and over again because it's like you know it's like episode ep-
Episodic.
episodic storytelling, right? And
Mm.
like obviously like animation, music, amazing. You know, Kane, one of the most iconic openings
So
of all
iconic.
time, right? Like, yeah, and I just really enjoyed it, and I liked how like every character had a meaning besides freaking that one girl, Ed, right?
No one cares about
I
it.
don't know. Like,
I didn't know what Ed
yeah,
did at all.
she like I don't know why she was there, but like even the corgi had
Yeah,
like
the
a
corgi
meaning,
had
right?
more character development than Ed.
I know, right? But I think one thing that really was interesting was you guys know how like Faye. I try to talk to you guys about this,
I
right?
know you
But
talked to me
Faye
about it.
is always trying to go like trying to find her past. You know how she was like pretty much frozen and all that blah blah, right? And how Faye wanted to go to like find her past while like what's it called? Spike wanted to like forget his past and move on, right? And then
Mm.
Jet wanted to like you know, be in the present, wants to stay in the present, you know, not think about the past or the future, you know. And it's a really interesting thought how like I feel like that's the main reason why they're separated. But like the
Yeah.
reasoning and all that is really amazing. It's like how like you know they struggle by themselves because they have you know different ideals. But at
Mm.
the end of the day, it really just shows that like we need each other. Like people need each other, not themselves, right?
Mm.
Because if as long as we work together, we can you know help each other out.
Right.
Obviously, so I don't know. Like I just really enjoyed that. That made any sense whatsoever.
It,
Like
it does. It
then
does. Yeah.
again, for all you viewers, when I say stuff,
I
I
know this guy,
really don't
bro.
make any
Bro, let
sense.
me say, this guy like when we were watching Serial Experience Lane together, this guy figured out most of everything, but just the way he words it is just pure garbage.
It's atrocious.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I
So.
like that. I like that description of kind of like the past of like each character
Yeah.
because like I didn't really like pay too much close attention to it, but like as you being like absolute lover of Cowboy, like it does
Hmm.
make a lot of impact into the series.
Yeah. That's why I liked it.
Mm.
So my number one is Evangelion, and man, I
So
know
mid, bro.
it's
So mid.
like it's definitely the most, I'd say, how would I say this, decisive shows.
Yeah, decisive. I say.
Yeah.
It's either you absolutely think it's a 10 or you just think it's meh or you hate it.
Meh or
And
Hmm.
bad.
I think for me, like obviously I don't think NGE like plot wise aged well compared to like I say End of Ava, but I think
Mhm.
Indeed.
watching it, especially because it's my dad's favorite anime and we've watched it together. Like I don't know how I watched it when I was 8, because like all the stuff that goes down, especially in End of Ava,
For real. The nut.
The
The
nut.
nut.
but
The
The
nut.
man,
nut.
I think yeah, I think a lot of people are really turned off by the idea how it's very
Nut.
episodic. Yeah, the nut,
The
yeah,
nut.
but it's very episodic. But I think for me, what stood out to me, just like especially, I know like everyone hates Shinji, but I think that was the point of his character. Like especially
Hmm.
Mhm.
as someone who's very emotional and very like I guess just like caught up by own emotions, just seeing how Shinji runs away, Shinji is depressed, or Shinji doesn't want to do things, but does it anyway. I think really stood out to me, especially just with the whole idea or the whole message of Evangelion being just don't run away from things. Like I think really stood out, especially because you see Shinji run away from the whole show all the way up to like end of Ava, and then he finally makes a decision to stop running away from things, but face reality and face the fact that we need to live. Like it isn't us
Mm.
focusing on other people what they think of us or like getting approval for other people, but it's
Hmm.
for
Yeah.
you to accept who you are and just live. And I
Mm.
think especially with End of Ava when Shinji makes a decision like with his mom in the Egg of Lilith, I think it's called,
Mm.
where he because the whole instrumentality project was just based on I should just give it background now I think about it. So pretty much the whole show NGE is about angels, these alien like things called angels were which pretty much were kind of made out of try to conquer Earth. So then the government uses Ava units which are made from angels. That makes sense. They're copies of angels that we
Mhm.
destroyed before,
Yeah.
and then they use 14-year-old pilots to destroy them. And pretty much their ulterior motive is to enforce instrumentality, which is pretty much everyone dying because everyone's so depressed. Because I think it makes really like makes no sense. Cause like maybe there's people that are happy, but they pretty much made a contract because the angels are pretty much the god of that story. So they pretty
Mm.
much when they separated from the angels, they pretty much made a contract where they can't find happiness at all. And I think especially just of how everyone wants human instrumentality at the end of Ava, but then Shinji realizes that why would you do that when you can just live? Like you don't know
Mm.
when if life you're gonna be happy again, but the fact of knowing that you can be happy drives him to stop human instrumentality for everyone. And then he
Mm.
comes
Mhm.
back and then it ends with Asuka. I think even with like the whole like relationship with Asuka and Shinji is really interesting. Like how Asuka's like she uses her own insecurities to be prideful, to be like very arrogant, while Shinji's more definitely more emotional and like just very like docile, I'd say.
Mm.
And I
Yeah.
think especially how I don't want to spoil what happens at the end of Ava, but especially how like those interactions between those two end up at the end, like really show like you might if you know people, if you truly know people, you'll hate them.
Mm-hmm.
Like especially if you're vulnerable with one another, like you know their flaws, but at the end of it all, like that's how you know how to love one another.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think that's why End of Evangelion as a whole is my favorite anime. So yeah,
Mm.
Oscar, let him hit. That's the ending,
for
guys. Oscar, let him hit.
All right, and then for me to end this top five for all of us, my number one is Gintama. Uh, and
Gintama.
for the other two, they are still watching it. But for me, as someone who's still waiting for the movie and it probably won't air to the US in like a year,
Bro, I gotta
I
watch this shit.
absolutely adore Gintama.
Your mic.
Your
But
mic.
yeah,
Cancer.
I absolutely
Diabetic.
adore.
Your mic,
But
bro.
yeah,
It's fine
really,
now. It's fine now.
Yeah, it's fine now, but it was like.
I, I don't know. We'll figure it out outside of the
It's fine.
podcast. But yeah, like from the comedy, I think Gintama is by far the number one comedy. And yeah, I don't know how to explain it. Like every episode will make you like laugh. Every character will make you laugh. And like even outside like the comedy, you have the serious moments, which I absolutely love. And like for some reason I can't understand why people
I
would
don't know. I
dislike
don't know how people can hate
the serious
Gintama.
aspects of Gintama.
Yeah, I liked it.
Because like I think it's like so like it fits so well like with the characters, like with the story as well. Through these serious arcs you gain like character development, uh which adds on to more love to these characters.
Mm-hmm.
um, I think even like with all like the absolute love of the story and like the comedy, I think what I love most about Tama is the life lessons you'll learn throughout the series.
Mm-hmm.
Like even like in the
I
titles,
know.
like
Literally
they'll
every
give you life
episode.
lessons.
Yeah.
Whether it's as silly as like like don't throw poo at like the mailman, or like like actual serious quotes. Like I swear there has to be like a title where it's something like involving poo and throwing. Um, like as little as those like kind of like life lessons, like the quotes from Gintoki where he shows his absolute wisdom to everyone else from like Yorozuya. Like it definitely teaches, like it taught me a lot. throughout kind of like the series. Like fight for what you like believe in. Stand firm. Happiness. A lot of things just throughout Gintama has definitely like hit hard.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and like I said, like the characters you absolutely fall in love with.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think there's much else to say for me about Gintama, but yeah, those are my
Yeah.
top 5 and our top 5.
Yo,
Yes, and we have. I don't want to be like those type of elitists. Like genuinely, there's no such thing as bad taste because everyone has
Mhm.
I
different
mean,
tastes.
SAO,
Yeah.
bro.
But it's just
SAO, I don't know.
yeah, okay. But like
There's things to
yeah.
hate about anime, but
hmm But
yeah.
at the end of the day, it's what you like, what you hate.
That's true.
End of
If
the
you like,
day,
if you like Boku no
nobody's
Pico, it's
taste
all
really
good.
matters.
Hmm.
There's no such thing as an accurate taste because everyone
Yeah,
has
Yeah.
different
that's
tastes.
true.
So going off of that, what's one anime that you guys like,
Hmm.
but people like hate, or I guess not hate, but just dislike?
I mean,
It's like
it's
it's not
Evangelion.
commonly known to be like liked.
Yeah.
Mm. Oh, Ava is Joel's for
Yeah,
sure.
for sure.
Yeah, Eva for sure. For me,
Huh.
at least,
Yeah, go
this
ahead.
sounds really weird. Sorry, but this
Okay.
sounds really
High
weird.
School DxD.
Like, ah, okay, yeah, High School DxD. I enjoyed High School DxD. I don't care. I'm proud to say that I enjoyed
It's
High
okay, bro.
School DxD watching it.
Hey, no, no, hey, whoa,
But
whoa, whoa. All gotta agree. One room, bro. Like legit,
no,
one room.
that's what I was gonna
That's what
say.
I'm
I
saying,
think
dude.
the
Dude, I
one
saw you
thing.
guys putting it on your mail, and I was like, dude,
Cause,
these
dude,
guys
it's
are
like
buffoons.
if you really think about it, yeah, it's so troll, right? But if you really think about it,
Yeah,
there's no anime where it has like a POV style where you're the MC, like going
for
on
real.
a
It's like,
romantic anime, bro.
I
I'm
don't
not
want to
even
hear it.
joking
I don't
though.
want to
I'm
hear
literally
it.
not joking.
the.
And
All
no,
right,
the girls are
so
bad
let me
too.
explain why I preferred like it, bro. It's like, it's like the normal harem anime, right? But it's not, cause you're the MC. Like I don't know what else you're supposed to
Exactly.
explain it. You feel like you're getting loved. You feel like you're getting teased, right? And it just makes me feel like, oh, I can get a girlfriend now, right? Another thing is like, man, like the MC is committed. Like he's like, I guess he's loyal, bro. Because from the start, you guys remember like the start, like that one
Yeah.
girl, right? I don't know if you want to be spoiled by this, Isaac, and the viewers. Honestly, the viewers,
Yeah, it doesn't. It's one room.
yeah, it really doesn't
It's
matter,
one
right?
room.
But
It's amazing.
like
Hey,
at
if you
the
ever
end,
feel
they get
lonely,
married
just
and
watch One Room.
everything. Like
Yeah,
they
I
get
know
married
that's
and
crazy
everything, and I
too.
was just like, oh, that's so
Like, cause you
cute,
meet the
bro.
first
Like,
girl in season 1, like the first episode,
hmm
right? But you end it with yourself marrying that girl at the end of season 3. I'm like,
I know.
that's actually bog.
Bruh.
And the plot is like, it's more of like obviously like there's no plot. It's just a story, the episodic storytelling, obviously.
Mhm.
But it's like, it's so fun to
I
watch. Like,
know that's
It
I
what I'm
think
is.
saying.
Joel can agree with this. Like when
I
we
love
watched
watching
it,
it.
we were like smiling and being happy. Like it was just fun to watch.
Exactly.
Like I know it makes me sound like such a sad, like depressing boy.
Simp.
Like oh, you don't get girls, like you're just depressed.
I
But
mean,
like
I don't, but
I genuinely liked it, not because like obviously yeah I was getting teased. I was like oh
my heart, my
you too girl,
Kokoro.
For
but
sure.
my heart. But like at the end of the day, like I don't think it's def like I don't think like for me actually like I didn't
Mhm.
really hate it. I liked it, and but then when I look at like review,
Yeah.
everyone's like, "Oh, it's so bad. Like, doesn't make any sense. No plot." But I feel like the whole purpose
Oh
of it is
yeah.
not the plot.
It's
It's
pretty much
just
just
there
like
For
to
the
just
Sims.
it's just
They're
for
doing
the
it
it's for
for
the
the
Sims.
Sims.
It's
right.
for the down bad people.
I'm just like, you know what? I'm down bad. I'm fine with that. Yeah. So I
Exactly.
was just like, let's pause. So
Mhm.
I enjoyed it.
Yeah. Like if you watch it
Yeah,
where it's like
you
you
have a
expect
good
like an
point.
actual like romance, then no. Expect it as like an interactive kind of anime. If that
hmm
makes sense.
You have a good point.
So we'll always defend One Room.
I will always defend one room two. Viewers, if you guys are horny or not horny, if you guys are desperate, you don't want a girl, you want to feel
I
like
mean,
you
if
have a
you're
girl.
horny too, if
Yeah.
you're horny
That's
too,
true.
You know what, bro? They're
There are
fucking
some, bro.
Opire.
there's
Hey,
moments
the
where
thighs
you'll
though.
you'll get
The
turned on.
thighs.
For real, for real. But yeah, I definitely recommend y'all to watch it. Like, oh, man,
John, you want to explain your
so
thigh
good.
fetish?
Thigh
All right,
fetish.
guys.
Yeah.
Okay, so I think everyone knows this, at least from our group. Like, I have a thigh fetish, right? And
Honestly, I like
I'm
that
not
too. I like that
disappointed.
too. Yeah.
I'm not disappointed because man, like, it was from this anime called High School DxD.
The origin,
Right, and
the
this
origin story.
and every the origin story.
Origin of my thigh fetish.
And like I remember every girl had like thighs, right? And like
Bro.
like those really like high ones and like it's like squeezing like the thigh, man.
Mhm.
And I saw that and that just turned me on so hard for no reason
Oh
whatsoever.
my
I
goodness.
got hard. I got like to like
Bro,
from
something
negative
was
1 inch
rising
to
and it
like
was not
freaking
the shield
5
hero.
billion. Yeah, I know it was not the shoe dog. Like and then like a kennel man, her thighs.
Yeah,
Mm.
I like
Immaculate. I don't know if you guys. I feel like no, I showed you guys the kiddo, but
she is
mm,
man. I think she's so good. I haven't
she's
even
best
watched
girl
it,
in my
but
opinion.
like, I seen clips. I'm like, man,
Yeah, she is a baddie, bro. And like her thighs are just, you just want to eat it up, bro. Like,
oh,
man. I swear I got my thighs first. Akeno was the girl that got my
not
thighs
gonna lie.
first.
Like, I think another anime is like I don't think Fire Force is like good at all. I think it's like just
Mm.
very average. But man, I kind of had a lot of fun watching it though.
The thighs.
I did too,
The
yes, and
waifus,
the thighs
bro.
for sure,
Oh,
yes.
bro, Hibana, bro.
Yeah, she's actually one of the only girls that lets like
That-
I let her slide that she can step on me, bro.
For real.
Like you know what I mean?
Like,
Like she's
not
something
gonna lie,
else,
I think the worst girl from Fire Force is Tamaki. Like, what does she do? Like, she doesn't do anything besides get
bro.
naked.
Right now, but I mean that's the whole point.
Yeah, facts, facts.
Yeah, that's the whole point of Fire Force.
That's the whole point. Like everyone just get naked for no
It,
reason.
Fire Force could be really good though. But
I think the whole point of Tamaki was just literally just
fan
for the horny
service,
people.
yeah.
Like I thought Jenny those were horny people. That's why a lot of people simp
Yeah.
for her because get naked for no reason. So that's just how I feel about her. So Fire Force is the one anime you like, Joe, that people don't like.
Oh, no, I'm just saying. I mean, it's obviously Ava, but I don't. I mean, Fire
Oh
Force
yeah,
is okay. I didn't like it or I didn't dislike it, but it was just like, it's kind of a meh.
it had a lot of potential. It had a lot of potential, and then it just went downhill for me.
Really did.
The concept was so good.
Yeah,
Mhm.
they
The
blew it.
concept
Very
was really
unique.
good.
But man, like like this, how the story flows, it's just so slow.
Yeah. I thought some parts were really
Yeah, I think.
rushed, like when,
Yeah.
and then some parts weren't. Like it was slow, and then it was really rushed and slow. It was just
And
inconsistent,
bro,
like the
Shinra
story.
as an
Yeah.
MC, like I don't like him. Like he just doesn't interest me at all.
Like Shinra, I think he's a pretty decent MC. I don't hate him.
He's an average like
Yeah.
MC.
He's
Like
just there.
he's not like as bad as Kazuya, but like
Yeah.
Oh, right
Mhm.
there.
he doesn't like
Kazu.
want to make me like be like, yeah, go, you
Yeah.
got this.
Yeah.
It's
You
more
Like
know,
Guts, like Guts.
oh,
you could say so, yeah.
like Deku.
What do you mean? Guts is the best MC. That's a topic we could talk about later on in the
We
next
can't talk
podcast.
about that.
I hope. I still think I don't know. I mean, I haven't watched Berserk, but number one should still be Lelouch though. But that's just me.
Mm.
Yeah,
See.
but it's another topic we can talk about next time.
Yeah.
So Isaac, what about you, man?
No, there really isn't like an anime that I love that many people hate. There are animes that I love that don't get like much attention. Like
Yeah.
they're like past like it was okay, it was good. Which are mainly a lot of Kyoto anime like animes. So that's like Lucky
Mm,
Star, K-On!
Lucky
Yeah.
Stars, Pogs.
Like I absolutely love, everything from Kyoto except for like Free.
Free
Like
open EDs are fire though.
They are, they
free
are, though.
free music is absolutely bangers, but like everything like else in Kyoto, like Annie is like definitely one of my favorites. Like Kyo Annie is like probably like I'd say like top 2 or 3 of like my favorite studios.
Mm.
Yeah, I wouldn't say like there's an like anime that I love that people hate, but it's just like not as much like recognition.
I see. I see.
Mm.
I think, man,
See?
I don't know. I think another anime is that came into my head is 5 centimeters per second.
Five is very divisive.
That is very divisive. 'Cause I think if you look into it,
You
where it's
either
like
hate it or
Indeed.
love it.
if you watch it as like another Makoto Shinkai movie, like Your Name or Weathering with You, it's kind of trash. No, it is trash if you think,
Yeah.
but I think
Yeah.
if you look at it as I want to say like a reflection of someone's relationship that you're just seeing from the outside, I think it's actually a
Mm.
really good movie. Cause
I think it just
go, you can go.
I think it just shows like I think I got this from I don't know where I got this from Reddit, but it was really interesting when I read it. It's
Mhm.
like it shows the slowness of life and how
Yeah,
people like
That's true.
start together but like slowly part ways, right?
yeah,
And how like
Mm.
so I feel like it was a really interesting concept. I think people just had to understand what the meaning was.
yeah. Especially like at
So
the end, I think that's when I forgot the main characters because like you really care about the main character. I mean, yeah, but because you don't get that much background, but especially
Yeah.
when he passes her and the training comes, but I think that shows like him accepting like just reality, accepting that like
hmm
oh like I need to move on because she's moved on to also.
hmm
So I thought it was a really good movie.
Mhm.
I think 5 centimeters is one of those animes just like you either hate him or love it.
Yeah,
So
I think if you
Mhm.
actually like was in a long distance relationship like him, like it'll hit you so hard.
yeah,
But
We'll hit a lot harder
yeah,
for sure.
like me.
all right,
Like
buddy. With who? Mika?
Yeah.
for me, like 5 centimeters was uh, like I understand the meaning. I understand the point of like the movie or like
Mm.
what this story was about. But like I couldn't get my foot into like wanting to like it. Like I understood everything. Like I understood what's going on. I understood that it was all about kind of like love and like how life like moves on.
Mm.
But like it was just one of those kind of like animes for me where I was just like, like you watch it and you're like, oh, okay, like I see. It didn't really
Yeah.
like change my perspective on like life. It didn't like kind of like wow me. It was just like it was all right. It was good.
Mm. Yeah. Which it's like end of the day, like I said, people's taste.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, I don't really like judging people's taste, so I just try my best to understand them. Unless you like NG.
All right, buddy.
Mhm.
Mister,
Uh,
bro, my hero was so mid. It's like, bro, it's actually growing on me.
Bro, it really did grow on me though. That's the thing. Like that's actually one of the animes that actually grew on me pretty
Exactly, I'm
hard.
telling you.
Ah, and I hate to admit that too.
Especially also
uh,
ReZero.
302.
I think
302
ReZero grew on me
season
too.
one.
I think it grew on all of us.
Yeah.
hmm I don't want to admit it though, but
I
season
I mean
one
I'm
was
not
pretty
tough
good.
admitting it. I loved it.
And
Like I
then
think season two part two, like so far,
this season right now so far,
it's
I
like a
think they're
nine.
killing it.
I think it's a nine
I
so
think
I
they're
far.
haven't
killing it.
watched it yet,
You should.
so
Well, you'll have to before our next podcast.
Yeah, cause
you're right. You're
I
right.
want to
You're right.
discuss what happens in season or episode two. Cause man,
Mm.
Ah.
it's like
Just don't want to admit it, man. Like I hated ReZero for the longest because I just didn't like how I already explained this to you guys. But I just didn't like how like they wanted us to like feel sympathy for Subaru when like they haven't even like had the setting or like had the plot what's happening, right? And so I really
Mm.
didn't like that. But like when I thought about it, like that's just the whole point of it because
yeah,
it's supposed to be flawless, right? Because the character's flawless. And I think the whole point of it is to like be more realistic,
yeah. Cause
right?
if you put
So I was
yourself in
just
those
like,
shoes, then
Mm.
like, dude, you'd be scared for your life.
so I hate to admit it, but yeah, Rizzo was pretty good.
Well, before we use up all our topics for next week, we should
For
come to a close. I think we had a good starting
Yeah.
podcast. Whether
hmm
people watch it or not, this will be for memories for sure.
for yeah,
So
Um,
since I introduced, would anyone like to close this out?
we can all close it. I think it's like
I'll close it. What do you
just
mean
say
you
what
all
we want
close
to
it?
say. Fine, I'll close it then.
Joel.
I mean, I think for next week, probably, I think it just should be more like, I don't know. I think we can go like weekly animes, like, so especially what we're
Yeah,
watching
for
now.
sure.
hmm
So
Mm.
expect that. Yeah.
Expect some hentai reviews from your
Alright,
boy
buddy.
John.
From what? Mother knows breast.
Yes, sir. Do you guys know like that? I don't know. Like, you guys watch the anime? Have you guys watched the top 3 best animes in each country thing?
I think
Have you guys
so.
watched it from the
Mhm.
Anime Man?
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
guys see like how some countries had the review Haruno review, like the whole like the milk jug woman,
Yeah.
like that one small kid. I don't know what it's
Might
called.
have to check it out actually.
Yeah,
I'm
I'll review
surprised
have
by
about
to.
that.
I was surprised by like some countries where they all had Ava. I was like, what? How?
Yeah. Oh,
You need to move there.
I didn't
You
know.
need to move there.
Ishizoku reviewers.
Oh, that
That one.
interspecies reviewers. Dude.
Yeah.
Oh, that show. No, bro.
Dude, it's wild,
Oh.
dog. It's just a little kid too in the middle, right? Isn't
Bro,
that a
yeah,
little
I know.
kid?
That's what I was
All
saying.
right,
I mean,
but before we take this any deeper, we need to stop this.
Yeah, you're right. You're right. You're right.
All right.
You're right. You're right.
Anyways, thank you guys for listening and tuning in.
Mhm.
And if you guys or if anyone has reached the end, we greatly appreciate your support and our stupidity.
For real.
facts.
Yeah, tune in next week. We'll talk about, weekly anime. We'll talk about other stuff around the world. But yeah, just be sure to stay tuned.
Bye bye.
Arigato gozaimasu. Thank you for
Deuces,
watching.
everyone.